Hi, I'm Camille,
And I'm Kate.
and we are the Flashers.
Flashers. I,
I thought you were gonna say it with me.
oh, sorry. I thought we were
It's done
we
now.
suck at it.
It's
We're the
done.
Flashers. That's You guys probably know that by now if you listen to our other episodes. If you haven't, well, you should.
Get on that right now.
Mm-hmm.
Stop listening to this one. Go listen to the first one, and then the second one, and then listen to this one because we're covering episode 3 of season 3 of the CW's The Flash.
Yep. Um, I'm just gonna say it right now. Episode for being episode 3. I was like, come on, guys, it's the third episode.
It was very slowish. It felt more like a filler episode than anything else. I mean, clearly we got a major plot reveal of Jessie having her speed, which
Mm-hmm.
total BS. Sorry, still not over it. Wally should be a speedster, not her. I'm gonna read all sorts of deep things into that I probably shouldn't. But anyway, yeah, it was a pretty kind of meh episode. I definitely was kind of phased out by the end of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that means that our podcast probably won't be as long as the last one because we went from like
An hour
50 minutes
30.
to like, yeah. So this is gonna be like 5 minutes. So listen up,
Right.
guys. Pull up a chair.
Maybe this is the episode you want to start with.
Yeah, right. If it is the one that you're starting with, I have a personal goal of not being a complete jerk to Iris West. I'm gonna try not to because I was very grumpy last episode. I'm so sorry. That's probably why people like tuned out. They're like, "This chick is angry." I wasn't angry. I was sleepy or something. I don't know. So I'm sorry for being so grumpy. And I do. I'm sorry. That's all I got.
You know
And I'm gonna
what?
try and
Just
be.
it's your honest feelings, but
It's
I'm
true.
sure someone appreciates the apology. I find it personally very hilarious how much you hate that character, but and I
uh,
totally get it. I guess maybe I'm too apathetic. I'm just like, yeah, she's annoying, but I get why. Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't understand why. So I made the goal of not being mean to Iris West, but then they started the episode with Barry thinking about Iris West, and I was like, ah, I'm being tested by the CW.
Right out the gate, they got you.
Yeah,
They
they
got you
did.
good.
Um, they did. So I'm just gonna skip my first note, and I'm gonna go with because it starts off with Barry being at work and Draco. What is his name in the show? Julian.
Julian,
Julian, right?
yeah,
Julian,
actor Tom Felton.
Tom Felton, Julian, Draco Malfoy the third. Um, is pulling rank, I guess, on Barry and telling him that he can't go on his date with Iris just yet. And poor Draco, he's just being typecast already as the villain. And I would like to see him in a nice little rom com.
I
I think that would be interesting.
think the last movie I saw him in was the movie Belle, which is based on it was kind of a more independent type film, and it's based on the life of, I can't remember her full name now, but she was born to a slave and a rich white aristocrat, kind of back in the days of high aristocracy and the 1700s, and the with the wigs and the big puffy dresses, and
Oh, yeah.
in France, I believe, or Paris, somewhere around there. And he basically, her mother dies. He goes and takes her and leaves her with his aunt and uncle. And she ends up growing up in this kind of aristocracy, but she's also never really included because she's still a black woman. And anyway, in that movie, it's a really good movie.
Interesting.
It's a historical, well, it's a true story. It's based on a true story, but it was really interesting. She somehow gets, I think, involved in the abolitionist movement in France of that time. And Tom Felton is in it, and he does play a big, big jerk. And you're just like, oh, come on.
See a big old racist.
He's a big all racist in it.
Uh,
But I think, I feel if you find your strong suit, acting wise, maybe
Stick
maybe
with
you should
it.
stick to it,
Yeah.
sure. I mean, it must
Hmm.
suck. Maybe he does want to do a rom-com. He wants to be a leading man, perhaps.
I just want to be in love. That's a terrible accent. I have a question, very random, and I'm sorry, I'm going off already. But can you please explain to me why, no matter where, it doesn't matter what time frame it is, why is it always like a British accent that people seem to do? It doesn't like the movie Troy. Everybody's kind of British sounding. Why is everybody doing that? I understand it's a hard dialect to try and do, you
No,
know,
not that hard.
well, not British, but like Greek or,
Oh,
ancient Greek or, what does that sound like? Ah, British.
yeah. It could be just, I mean, you could be. I'm going to start by saying I don't know an actual answer for that. I really don't. I've never really thought to look into it. Like I know movies of like the 1940s and 1950s where everyone speaks with that very Catherine Hepburn voice, and
Yeah.
everybody has that weird accent that's kind of all very New Englandy, and
Yeah.
that's because it was just kind of seen as a proper way of
Mm-hmm.
speaking. It was very formal.
Right.
It's,
Not a
it,
particular accent.
right. It was just
Yeah.
how those very formal people spoke. As far as movies now that do that, just because they're in a different, yeah, I have no idea. I would say it's probably because they're lazy and they don't want to try to learn how people would have spoken in that time.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, people in that whole England, British Isles area were probably trying to take over everywhere. So maybe there was one about during the, what was it, Trojan War? I don't know. I would say it's probably just some lazy filmmaking. And
Gotcha.
everyone finds a British accent to be antiquated a bit and very proper and kind of a higher class when it's not like South London kind of accent. So like the
Like
proper
mythic.
standard British is kind of seen as very highfalutin,
I
and
gotcha.
so that's my theory. Again, I have no basis in facts whatsoever. I feel I failed my
Sorry.
dramaturgy class, both now and in college, probably.
What dramaturgy? What?
Drama, it's
What did you say?
it's dramaturgy, or
What does that
yeah,
mean?
it's it's a way of studying the time period surrounding your play.
Oh.
So it's like theater history almost, but you kind of go into not only the background of the actual play, but maybe the writer's environment while he was writing it, how it relates to other things in that environment or in that time or in the previous time, kind of the whole social and psychological aspects to it. I mean, people have doctorates in dramaturgy, great for them.
That's pretty cool.
It, I mean, it's
That's
interesting. I
interesting.
like history, but I just never, I slept through my history class, my theater history class. It was at 8 a.m. though, and he was very droll sounding. But,
Hmm.
and I mean, I slept through most of high school too.
Well, there you go.
That's why I'm a
I
theater major.
I almost switched to theater, but I didn't. But I did every other. I did every other. Well, I got a scholarship off, like a small scholarship offer for a school in somewhere in North Texas for theater for drama, but I didn't want to go to that school. I don't even know what school it was. And then yeah. Anyway, that's about it. I almost was a theater major. I almost could say that like you can, but instead all I can say is I was general studies after switching about 20 times.
Probably got the same results either
Well,
way.
yeah. But fun fact, I was named after Katharine Hepburn, as you named, but
Yay.
I was named after her nickname. My name's not Katharine, it's just Kate. So, anyway, back to the Flash. I'd like to see Draco in a rom com. Go for it, Draco. If you want to fall in love, you fall in love.
Get that, get
Well,
that, get that lady.
yeah, while trying to write an article for a newspaper. That's probably what, or a magazine, or, some sort of
Some
crazy thing.
standard, rom-com job where you have a ridiculously nice apartment that is
Hmm.
completely unobtainable for the salary you actually make.
And the geographical location that you're in,
Yeah.
like New York, but whatever.
Anyway,
I feel like this would be a very easy episode to go off track because I really just did not care for this episode at all.
good. So after the date, like I don't even remember what happens. And I apologize because I had notes to help keep us on track and to go over. and I was writing them on my phone, and suddenly they were gone when I looked this morning because apparently I didn't save them.
Womp. I think what happens next is that he shows up for their date. He buys a bunch of flowers and then crafts a heart out of flowers for her, and then quickly changes it to her name. And I don't understand how being fast means that you're really crafty.
Unless he's an expert florist. Yeah.
Forensic scientist, fastest man alive. I use quotation marks when I say that. And magical florist.
Yeah.
So
I think I did mention in my original notes that have disappeared. Can't take a boxing lesson, but had time for floral arrangements 101. Like, really, Mary? Come on. Priorities. And then they had the most awkward date ever because they were trying to pretend he wasn't the Flash, which we all knew that was going to be a bad idea anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, they had a bad date, and then they kind of decided not to date, which was weird.
Yeah.
And then we cut to the appearance. I'm surprised you're not more excited by your blue-eyed whispering angel.
Harrison Wells came back, and and he has the worst dad joke type things going on.
Not.
Man, how many times can we add that in to the podcast? Yeah,
we'll count at the end.
Yeah,
at the end of the season, we'll count how many times we've said not. Yeah, he was a little, like you were saying, they said he was going to come back as a bit of a funnier character this time somehow, but not intentionally. And he was a little bit more, he was less
different,
morose and kind of a bummer. And then I noticed he was like gesticulating a lot when he spoke. I don't know if he's always been that way, but his arms, like his whole first big monologue, I think when he was trying to get Caitlin to talk to Jesse, he was just pointing at everybody and everything. Everything was just like, I'm pointing, I'm using my hands to emphasize what I mean and how important this is to me.
I'm no longer in a wheelchair. Look at these motions. Well, I guess he could use his hands, but he didn't.
And then we had the little weird time hiccup reveal where apparently they have a speed room.
Speed
lab that then for somehow Wells, like in an instant, figures out that Barry has effed up everything. Again, which was really.
How many times did I tell you to stop doing that?
Yeah, you need to stop doing that. How many times did I tell you? And it really confused me at first. I think I did rewind and rewatch it to see his explanation of, well, I know that if you're surprised by it and I'm surprised by it, that means this didn't happen before, which means you went back in time and now it's changed because I've also never been here.
To the speed lab.
So I had to rewind it like twice to catch all of that because, again, I hate time travel and it often confuses me.
Yeah, same here. But yeah, I was really excited that Harrison Wells was back. He's so he's so good. Oh, blue eyes with his jokes, and unfortunately he brought Jesse back with him, his daughter. Although I will say that somebody did agree with me that Jesse needed to get over it and just make friends on Earth One. So, and she was starting to. She liked Wally and Wally liked her, so I don't understand why she was.
Yeah, but that's
whatever.
That's your love interest. You're not friends with your love interest, are you? Or is that just a me thing? No. Okay.
Anyway. I consider my husband my friend. He's just my husband, and that's it.
That's just it. We just, we coexist together, are legally bound to each other, and we have a baby. That's all. We don't talk otherwise.
Yeah. We don't hang out. We don't have anything in common. I don't even like him.
Purely contractual. So my significant other watched the episode before I did, and all he would tell me, he's like, I'm annoyed by this episode. I think for mostly the same reasons we're already kind of touching on. It's like, it was just really kind of slow and just, it was just not a great episode. And personally, I was annoyed because Jessie has her freaking speedster powers and Wally doesn't. And you know how I feel about that. And I could read a whole lot of other deeper reasons into why they gave Jessie her powers and not Wally. But I'm going to try to not
it seems
go
like
there.
They're building it up to where he ends up being kind of desperate and going to Club Alchemy, and there's conflict with that.
Oh no, that is definitely if the next episode doesn't start with him trying to find alchemy, I will be surprised because that is exactly how they set up the entire ending of his story in this episode.
Yeah.
He's like, "Are you okay?" He's like, yeah, I'm just thinking everybody's having
Yeah.
these dreams from alchemy. It's just cool. I'm over wanting my powers after trying to kill myself. It's so
Yeah, that was so
like the whole
stupid.
episode was making him out to be a very kind of like an unlikable character. And I feel like they've done that to him already and they kind of redeemed him. And now he's going to end up probably some quasi villain or causing some sort of situation that Barry has to save everyone from.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the whole Iris thing. It's just making him this crux that causes so much grief in Barry's universe that you don't end up liking the character at some point.
I guess all he can do is cut ties with the West and,
We
move
we know
on.
we've seen how well he does when he doesn't have, his hands into everyone's life and stories.
And can
Either
I just
inserts
say it's
himself or goes
weird?
back in time to fix things.
Yeah. It's so weird when Joe references basically Barry being his son and then Barry being in love with someone that, you know what I mean? Like, I understand, like, you guys aren't blood at all. I get that. But it's just kind of weird
That he's in
that
love with his
that they
like adopted sister.
basically is kinda, yeah.
I mean,
Again, and
it's
it
not
just it gets
legally adopted, I guess. Even I mean, but that happens to people in real life, I feel.
I mean, I'm sure it does. It I guess out of instinct, I'm like, oh wait, when Joe just makes like these paternal talk type things to Barry, and then I'm like, oh wait, he wants to be with your daughter in many ways, I'm sure. Oh, it's weird.
Joe's a sensitive guy. He's just very understanding and he wants the best happiness for everyone. And I mean, if he's already like your son, why not have him for a son? Who better to date your daughter than someone you practically raised yourself, right? Because
uh,
they're gonna be mostly the type of guy you want them to be.
yeah, guess that's a
So,
good
but then
way
again,
of
I'm that
thinking.
person who didn't have a problem with the ending of Clueless.
But that was, well, yeah.
I always get crap for that. I'm like, but they weren't related. God, it's a beautiful love story. Get over it.
Well, I think comparing Clueless to The Flash is a little difficult because Clueless is a cult classic.
It
Not that The
is.
Flash, isn't obviously it has its own history and everything, but um, and Cher Horowitz is definitely way better than Iris West any day. So,
But not better than Stacey Dash.
oh,
That's a different story. So anyway, yeah, the I'm upset. I'm upset that
Ferguson's so
Wally
hard.
doesn't have his powers and that they are setting him up for this horrible alchemy storyline.
Yeah,
And
Club
then
Alchemy. Come on,
Club
come on.
Alchemy. Sorry.
I need my speed back.
So yeah, so they're Wells and Jesse are back.
Mhm.
Semi to stay, I guess. If they can open a portal, I guess they can just go home anytime, but I'm guessing they're there for a while, if not for forever. And then what happens? Oh, so we find out that of course Wells doesn't want Jesse to have powers or use powers, and he asks in a very gesticular way for Caitlin to oh well actually for Caitlin not only well he asked Cisco first to talk her out of it and he's like I'm not the right person, I have powers, and then Caitlin's like I'm not the right person either because I don't have powers, walk away quickly.
Run away. Like,
Right.
jeez,
Run away,
Caitlin,
run away.
be more awkward. Which I guess is
Like
part of
that
her
wasn't
charm.
yeah, and then we learn that she really is not the best person to ever have any kind of conversation in any fashion because she kind of fails at it completely.
Well, again, part of her charm. But
She, but then she does go off on Harrison, which was kind of a nice moment for her. She kind of got all up in
yeah,
his stuff.
because I guess Jessie did have good points, if I remember correctly, basically about her being a woman, and that's why. But that's probably not why it's coming from a parental standpoint, which I get.
Yeah,
But I think this is probably my least favorite episode out of all three of the seasons.
really.
Yeah, I don't
I,
remember ever feeling this like about one,
Yeah,
and then on top of it, you've got the metahuman is an abused kid, and so it's just like, God, guys, like,
it was a little heavy.
mm, like, not that I don't know,
But that's
but
kind of an overused trope at this point. I don't know when it turned out, it was an abused kid who, not to make light of child abuse, but I feel like so many stories use that as some sort of catalyst for someone to get powers or act out in
oh, yeah,
revenge. And I mean, it totally, it makes sense. Yeah, I get it, but it's also kind of like, oh, really? Can we not? But I guess there's only so many ways to get people who are angsty and pissed off, and
yeah. Well,
so.
I was cheering for her to get him. I was like, yeah,
Well,
I hope you get him. You're gonna do something. Get him. I'm sure I said like
yeah.
some other, you know, verbal cursing and probably calling
Other
him some
choice
things
words.
and yeah. But
It
and
was,
then she did and I was like,
it was kind of confusing to me after she left the police station, though, that her alter ego's instinct was to hurt just anyone while trying to hurt
yeah,
her dad. Like that was kind of, but I mean, they kind of explained it later that she's trying to rid herself of the meek and docile this world Jesse, because, or not Jesse, whatever her name was,
magenta.
because she's been pulled by alchemy into this world, and I guess she was fully aware in the last or the other parallel world. So she's just trying to get rid of the voice inside that's fighting back to get her original personality back.
So does Club Alchemy, does it distort their personalities in some way when he brings back their powers, or does he only choose people that are already bad? Because the rival was a bad guy. I don't even remember who the other
I would
people.
I would think that that's probably going to end up being sort of his thing, is that he's only going to bring, I mean, he wouldn't have a reason to not bring people, to bring docile people or like people using their powers for good. But here's the thing, we've not seen any other metahumans using their powers for good. It seems like
Yeah.
everyone except Barry at least starts out by being a jerk with their powers. It's like the moment you get
Yeah.
powers, Barry's the only one with a moral compass in all of Central City who decides to use his powers for good. Everyone else is just a damaged, horrible person and decides to go on crime sprees, which, not to say I
I,
wouldn't try that if I had powers, but you know.
I get that though, considering that the last podcast I talked about wanting to drop people from the sky. I wasn't gonna let them die though. I didn't want to kill anybody. I just want to drop them.
Sure,
And
okay,
then
gotcha.
in our and then in our test run, I talked about wanting to. My first choice was to be a shapeshifter, and I was going to mess with people by sneaking into their house, turning into a houseplant, and then scaring the hell out of them. So
You're a
I
super villain waiting to happen, aren't you?
I think so. Apparently, I would be the metahuman that would do some really jerky things and not be the
Non-lethal, but
moral.
incredibly annoying.
Yeah, like I'm not even necessarily doing crimes. I'm just being an ass, like being a
I'm not
jerk.
touching you. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. Like, that's not actually part of the power. You don't need powers to do that. I'm not touching you.
And then I teleport you in the sky and drop you. I said I wasn't touching you. Bye! As they fall to their non-death, because again, I won't kill anybody.
Yes, way to go, Batman.
I'm just gonna.
Or Superman. I don't know. Who doesn't kill someone? They both kill people now at this point, so it doesn't matter.
But speaking of abusers, I can't hold back on this. Iris West being annoying. uh,
I
she's
will
the
agree
worst
with you on
on
this
this one.
one, because I feel like I know
I,
where you're going.
yeah, when she goes to the hospital and she realizes, like, this man is just like, yeah, when I get out of the hospital, I'm gonna beat up this kid. Like, I'm gonna abuse the crap out of her. And she's just like, oh no, we need to save him. Like, oh God almighty, Iris, you dumb. Ugh, no,
I'm totally
I'm
with
not.
you on this one, because the moment she was like, "Oh my gosh, she's coming here to kill you. We have to get this man safe." I'm like, "Why? Why?
Yeah.
Why? Like, no, save everyone else in the hospital or just throw him
And
outside so she has easy access."
yeah,
Like, why are you protecting this one douchey dude? Like, really?
yeah.
It was a very
Like,
odd
like,
choice for them to make as story writers, I feel.
I
It's
guess it's like they're so good that they will even save the crappiest of people. But you know what? I'm not saying like let him die. I'm just saying
No, I am.
maybe get the babies out first. Like maybe get, you know, the
Take
people that
your
are just
time,
yeah, like
the innocent people.
I feel like there are other people that you could start with and not him. You know,
But
she's
then,
coming to destroy a hospital. Get me out. Not this guy. I
right,
don't know.
like,
Whatever.
say we need to evacuate the hospital, he's last.
Yeah. You
Women and
know.
children first,
Right.
all the other men first, and then this D-bag
Yeah.
last.
And I'm sure
I
the
agree.
especially at the end when they're like, yeah, the DA is locking him away for years, and I'm like, yeah, and Iris is just like freaking billing him out of the hospital, like, I saved him. I'm so good.
But did you
I
notice at
told
the
you.
end of the episode, there's only like 20 people in that hospital? Like, if you look at the front doors where everyone's crowding
Yeah,
around, there's only like 20 extras that they could hire for that day, for that shoot. I was like, that's a very
everybody
big
else is in their
building
hospital
for,
bed.
yeah. It's either they've left everyone in their hospital beds, it's a hospital full of invalids and coma patients, or, no one really has any health needs in Central City. Maybe they have universal health care there, and,
They're all good.
the hospitals are just empty.
But yeah, and then Barry's looking at her like, we're so great. You're so great, Iris, wheeling out this child abuser. Like,
Ugh. Yeah, that was a really bad moment for
gag me.
her. And I'm sorry,
Uh,
but can I just say, lifting an oil tanker into the air to drop on a hospital, like I get you're trying to do some damage, but I feel like your powers, you're overexerting yourself. Just go, the hospital's full of metal. Just walk inside and start moving random things. I'm sure you'll stab a bunch of people that way. There's scalpels everywhere, needles.
yeah. Was she like Magneto in that she could, was it just metal or was she just doing
It was metal.
telekinesis?
I
Okay.
feel it was all metal.
Um, oh, I guess you should say our fun fact that she is the little girl from, her name is Joey King, and she starred in The Dark Knight Rises. She played a young Talia who escaped the prison with the assistance of Bane.
Oh.
What? And then later stabs Batman after doing it with him.
Spoilers.
Oh, sorry.
Just kidding. It's been like 8 years
Whoopsies.
since that movie came out. It's your own fault at this
Yeah,
point.
that's true.
Yeah, I definitely recognized her, but not from that. I had watched another movie maybe a year or so ago with her in it, and she kind of reminds me of like a Chloe Grace Moretz.
Yeah, I can see that.
Very cute. She's very kind of
Hmm.
spunky. In the other movie, she was really pretty good. But she definitely has a distinctive voice that I
Hmm.
recognized right off the bat. I was like, I know you.
I know you. I know you. Sorry. Little Sleeping Beauty right there. What? I wish there was more Cisco.
Oh, when they go to the lab after when the breach opens and
Mhm.
Cisco's like, "Hey," and they're like, "Can you close it?"
Oh, yeah. And by they, you mean Iris? Because
Sorry,
he's like,
I forgot that. I wouldn't have brought it up had I remembered that Cyrus that said that because I didn't want to trigger you.
yeah. Well, yeah. I feel like that is, I will say that's probably something dumb that I would say too. Like, oh, you can't close it.
Can you close it though? Like,
And, like,
the
obviously
door.
not. I don't know. I don't really like that Jesse and Kid Flash are a thing. Like they're focusing on them because I feel like with Cisco being Vibe, I keep wanting to say Reverb because I think that's what he went by in the comic books in Earth 2, if I remember correctly. I don't know, but I want to see more of. I like them. You
Yeah.
know, I like the original people, and I feel like for season 3, already branching off into these other two characters that were just introduced is I don't know. I'd rather see Vibe become more of that than
Right.
just what he does in the lab, and Caitlin dealing with being possibly Killer Frost. Than I would, you know, Wally and his claymation face and Jesse and Jesse
Mhm.
doing their thing. But that's just me. Some people may be excited about it. I could hold off a little bit longer.
Yeah. I'm again disappointed that it wasn't Wally, and that's about all I can say. And then at some point we're gonna have three speedsters on a show,
Yeah, I think
and
that's the
just
other
nothing
thing.
else really cool.
Right. Because I mean, there's really only so much running that can be entertaining, right? Like, oh, he finally ran into a figure eight as opposed to he made a propeller as opposed to a tornado. So that was new and exciting.
That was new and exciting. I feel like he should really though invest in some like Krav Maga classes or cardio
Yeah.
kickboxing at least, dude. Up your fight game. You're kind
Some
of
Taibo.
yeah, just even Taibo could help you at this point because if you're the fastest but you get the crap punched out of you while running around by other speedsters, then you're really not
Doing
effectual.
that great.
Yeah.
And you're not the fastest either because if they are able to punch you, if they can reach you, then you're not that fast.
Maybe not that fast. Which, okay, so the intro, gonna jump back to the intro.
Okay.
Uh,
Back to it. Back to the fastest man alive quip thing.
it's so horrible.
Is
It's
it your
so
Iris West?
horrible. It's my Iris West. Yes, the voiceover beginning is my Iris West. I feel like I get it. I do. I understand. But by episode 4, drop it. Like, if you haven't watched up to this point, you shouldn't be starting with episode 3. Go to Netflix, get caught up, and then
Mm-hmm.
come join us here in the future because I'm tired of listening to Barry talk about how he screwed things up and now he's the fastest person alive, even though we know that's a lie. It's a lie, Barry.
Yeah, it's been proven. However, I do believe that, and I should have taken a picture of this, Earth 2 or 3, I don't remember, but Mark Hamill goes full on trickster to where he almost looks like the Joker.
Yeah, I saw that today actually. Did I send that to you? I sent it to somebody.
Well, it wasn't me.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Bren.
Yeah, jerk. I'm kidding. It's cool.
Yeah, they're bringing back the trickster, and he supposedly is very much kind of Joker-ish looking, Heath Ledger's Joker, to
Mm-hmm.
be exact, which will be fun because, you know, Mark Hamill voices the Joker now. He's basically the voice of the Joker, much like Mr. Conroy is the preferred voice of Batman for many people.
Ooh, it's Earth 3 trickster. So we're gonna have something to do with Earth 3, I guess.
So
Is this
I saw
from
something the other
Blur
day also.
Vision?
From what?
Sorry.
Oh, Blur
Uh,
Vision.
yeah,
Yeah, shout out. Love that guy. Not that he listens to us probably, but
I know. He should.
should.
Yeah, I follow him on my other I might be Kate. I am Kate. No, I might be Kate. Yeah,
No, he
so
has
go
something to
ahead.
post. And his cosplays are on point.
Amazing. I want to know what he does outside of cosplay because that's got to be expensive.
I
I
wonder
assume.
that about a lot of people. There's a guy who I follow on Instagram. It's like MC Lever or something. This guy, I've sent you his profile before. He collects Wonder Woman stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
when I say collect, I mean he has like a warehouse full of Wonder Woman items. He is posting something every day that he has just won in an auction or just bought off of eBay or
Yeah.
has purchased or found or collected or he's something someone sent him. He's always ordering or getting things from like Brazil. And these are like new items as well as vintage items that you know are probably a bit more pricey.
Yeah.
His collection is bananas. And because I mean, since we love Wonder Woman, like bananas in one of the best ways, but bananas also in like, how do you even
How
have
do you eat?
money?
Yeah, like
Like,
what
what
do
do
you
you
do?
do?
Yeah.
And I don't want to ask because that's rude, but you know, if you happen to be listening,
What do you do?
what do you
Blurred,
do? Where do you get your resources from?
yeah.
Because right
Blurred,
now, Blurred Vision, and I'd have to look up his account. It's like MC Hammer Lover. No, that's not what it is.
probably not if he has a warehouse full of Wonder Woman stuff.
No, he could like MC Hammer,
He
I guess.
could. Yeah,
I don't know.
blurred vision, what do you do for a living if you're listening, which you're not, but
Just in
we'll leave a comment on your Instagram and see if you notice at all. You
like
won't,
random
but
women
we'll
asking
try.
you for your W-9 forms. Yeah. Can you have your tax returns, please? We'd like to see what you do
Hey.
for a living.
Yeah.
Um,
Unless he has a podcast as well. Do you listen to his podcast?
no, I think I forgot that he had one.
Hmm.
Sorry. We're fans. We should probably listen to your podcast. So.
But we won't because you don't listen to ours.
I listened to ours.
Ours.
I did. I
Hours.
listened to it fine. Hours.
Hours. No, not you. I'm talking about Blur Vision. We're not
Oh,
listening to
you
his because he doesn't listen to ours. Hours. Dang. Is that a
okay.
Texas thing?
I don't know.
Hours?
It sounds the same to me, so maybe it is a Texas thing.
Hours? Hours? Hours. Wow, this podcast is.
It's killer tonight. Man, we are on fire. This is what happens when you have a boring behind episode of The Flash.
Yeah.
So, oh, well,
No joke.
let's give Sam a shout out though. Our
Oh, yeah,
dearest Sam,
yeah.
Sam the fan, as I've dubbed him now to myself. I don't think I told you that,
Aw.
but Sam the fan.
He knows a lot of stuff.
He does know.
He's,
He answered our parallel question timeline, and he answered that for us. And then he had
yeah.
his own question. Do we think that Tom Felton's character Julian will end up having some sort of connection with Club
Or is he?
Alchemy, or is he Club Alchemy, or would that be too cliche for this already typecast Tom Felton to end up being the bad guy? So
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on that?
I feel like it's too obvious. And I feel like Club Alchemy, because he's just like, oh, I don't trust you. Like, there's something weird about you. Like, I feel like he would know whether or not Barry was a speedster or not. You know,
Mm,
I feel like he would have some sort of, if he knows that somebody used to be a speedster, then he would probably know when somebody is or a metahuman. He would know when there's a current one. Um, that's kind of my thoughts. But he's an odd character. I don't know if it's they're trying to like play up the British thing, or if he's just socially awkward, if they're British scientists, because he just says things and then he leaves. Um,
That's how all British scientists are.
and yeah, I mean, I have no idea. You've been to England. I have no idea what British people are like.
Yeah, I met all the British people, so I can make
Well,
informed. Especially all
well,
the scientists. They were all very weird.
yes, all socially awkward. But yeah, and then he's, yelling at Magenta, which was weird. But then I could also see, because of that stuff, them just being like trying too hard to throw us off, and then he actually is Club Alchemy. But I don't know. I feel like it's too obvious.
I would have to agree with
But
that. I do, however, I don't think they'll just waste him though as kind of this side character that's suddenly on the show. He's going to have some
mhm.
sort of involvement somehow. Either he'll end up making a deal with Club Alchemy to save his own life, or maybe he'll end up helping crack the whole case and being the one to take Club Alchemy down somehow.
Yeah,
It's definitely going to be some sort of weird connection. Him being Club Alchemy, I don't think so.
maybe he'll take down Wally, because Wally's gonna get all weird from wanting his powers back.
What if Wally died in the other world and so he can't bring his powers here, or he tries to, but then Wally gets sick because the powers are dead. That was
He
really
became,
kind of weird and morbid.
but that was a little weird. But I liked where you were going with the fact that he was dying and therefore his powers can't be brought back. I like
That might
that.
happen, even though that would make me angry.
Or he would have something weird happen to him because of it. Or maybe that would make him more susceptible to being a bad guy, because he was a good guy in the other timeline. So if he was dying or dead or whatever stupid reason Barry decided to mess up the timeline, yeah, that would mess his powers up and make him a little freaky.
It would.
Interesting. You thought it was just a weird thing, but you were onto something. Hmm. Ho-ho. Uh,
Thanks, Mario.
I know. Not. I know. I was sitting there thinking, I was like, how do we work these in? Um, yeah, the only other thing that I have is just the annoyance of how Jessie got her outfit so quickly. So Jessie Quick. I don't like that. I'm sure I don't know. That's just weird. Jessie Quick. I know it's comic like, but it's
Well,
weird.
I don't have any. I like I said, at the end of the episode, I phased out pretty much completely. Shame on me. I know
Yeah.
this is like our job to watch it, but I ain't getting
It was
paid
hard
so
though.
far, so whatever. Um,
Yeah.
it was a hard episode to sit through. Oh, yeah, Iris. So I did have issues with Iris this episode. We're gonna be on the same. You won't be
Yes.
alone this time.
Yes.
So at the end,
Vengeance.
okay,
Sorry.
first getting to Jesse's costume. I don't remember the explanation of how they got her a costume so fast, but whatever.
Yeah.
Um, However, what really annoyed me was Iris when they go out on their second first date. And Barry gets an alert from wherever he's whisked her away to,
Yeah.
some far away fancy place on the ocean or on the bay. Um, and
And then
then
he
he
just
gets
left
an
her.
alert that there's a metahuman, and he's like, and she's like, no, go, it's fine, it's who you are. I'm like, Iris, set some boundaries, okay? You need to start setting some ground rules, setting some boundaries, have like him have office hours, because this will be your life for forever if you let this crap keep sliding. Like, it's just not okay. You have to say, Barry, for at least 2 hours a week, we need solid alone time. Like,
And
what
then
if,
having
yeah, it's just
kids on
like,
top of that would be really tough.
right, like you're never here. You care more about the metahumans than that's like a divorce waiting to happen, okay? There's so many issues that could arise from that. So I feel like there's a need to set there's a police force. Let them handle it for once. If it's not like the robbery, if it wasn't a metahuman, why stop the robbery in the middle of their
Yeah.
first date? Like, if it's not a metahuman and if no one's in serious immediate danger, maybe they should have like the terror code for meta
Oh,
crimes. Like orange means, oh, we kind of need you. Red is we definitely need you here. But like if you're like purple,
yeah.
could do with or without you. But I was really annoyed by that. Like, Iris, you got to set some ground rules, girl, or he's just gonna be running all over you. Unintended. What? Slam dunk.
I just didn't understand what their second first date was. Because again,
Yeah.
she looked like she was going to a formal of some sort. And they were just going around the world. And then all of a sudden it was the next day, I guess. Or I probably blacked out too and was over it, especially with just very confused about have I been
Where
dating like a normal, have I been dating wrong my whole life? Because,
should I be getting a slightly formal gown for all my first dates?
yeah.
I don't want to
Because
seem too anxious.
I mean, I guess it's kind of over with now. I'm already married, but not that we
Yeah.
can't look nice or go on dates, but my husband's fully aware that I have weak ankles now and I can barely handle high heels. So I think he's okay if I can't.
There is, yeah, it maybe would have made more sense if he would have taken her somewhere recognizable, like the Eiffel
Jitters.
Tower or the Seattle Space Needle, is that's what it's still called? I think they changed the name.
Oh, I guess they
Where,
couldn't for budget, or I guess they could have just done a green screen.
yeah, I mean, he whisked her to some like lake. Where, where did they even go? Yeah, like where did they even, why
Yeah,
was that lake special? See, the questions that people, well, you and I think of,
yeah.
um, that never get
And then
answered. And then he leaves her
did they
there.
end up? Yeah, did they end up back at Central City? But like, how was she supposed to call an Uber? Like,
She
was he
doesn't
gonna
even know
come
where. Does
back?
she have her phone? I don't think she was carrying a purse with that fancy
Uh,
dress.
she had something. Was it flowers? Was it more flowers?
I don't know.
Because I feel like I thought she had like a corsage on. I was like, what is happening? And I was like, oh wait, that's just a bouquet of flowers. I don't know. But I don't know. It was weird, and I feel like the Flash would not actually like a fancy date like that. I feel like he's a, movie and pizza and beer kind of guy. Video games maybe. I don't know. And I think Iris wants the fanciness.
Well, at that point, it wouldn't. I get that you're trying to establish this is
A
us in
non-brother
relationship mode,
sister.
right? Yeah, a non-brother sister connection.
Oh.
But I feel like that's so over the top for a first date that you kind of go all the way into this other weird territory. Like, still be yourself, still be comfortable, still do
Yeah.
something you're both gonna enjoy. It doesn't. That's just my personality, though. So whatever. It's again, it's nice to get fancy and dressed up for dates, but if you're gonna be left there in random city, USA, because the
Walk of
Flash, yeah, you
shame.
have to walk 500 miles of shame because your Flash date left you there. Then what's the point of getting dressed up? Always wear comfortable shoes, Iris.
Yeah.
That's my advice, because you're always going to be hoofing it later. You're just always going to be walking. Keep an Uber account, because that's what you're going to be doing for the rest of your life if you don't set some boundaries.
I I'm wondering, did he carry her as he was running? Was he like carrying her like bride over the threshold, or was it like when Barry was dragging the reverse flash during the first episode through while
I
he
thought
was
it was probably a
speeding?
little bit more romantic than maybe like a side Superman flying Lois Lane into the clouds hug type of thing. One of
Yeah.
those carries. I just don't understand how no one throws up when they reach their destination. Is she used to it now, I guess?
But how often does he carry her around? God, Iris.
Like I said, she is like the damsel in distress of the show. It's happened a few times now.
But they're trying so hard to not make her the damsel in distress that by giving her, these boxing and, like, because wasn't it when they were kids, she knew how to fight and Barry was,
Getting picked on all the time.
and getting beat up and Joe was trying to show him how to box and Iris punched him or did something. I don't know.
Probably
What a
so.
woman. But,
I choose her.
yeah. I don't know. And I don't remember this, was Iris engaged to Eddie or were they going to get engaged and they just lived together?
They were at some point engaged,
Mm-hmm.
fully engaged.
Mm-hmm.
And then they lived together. I feel like,
Yes.
Iris is the kind of girl she needs to have a ring on it before she moves in with you.
I
I could be
I
wrong though.
kind of I kind of get that though.
That was like 2 seasons ago. Meh.
um yeah, when I will skip that because I don't want to bash Iris some more because I feel like that's getting annoying for people. But yeah, okay. I couldn't remember if she was engaged to him or not, and then it made me wonder how people get engaged multiple times because I'm like, I've only been proposed to once. Like,
Not like, no, okay, so I get what you're saying. Not like, how could you possibly promise to be with more than one person, but more like, how do you get guys to be with
yeah,
you? Or
like,
like, how do you do that? Like, you've had more than one
yeah,
person ask you to marry them?
yep.
Or
I
you're
don't get it.
made of Swedish fish? I don't understand. I don't know which
And
Swedish fish it came from.
I don't know either, but that's okay. But yeah,
I was going to
I
say something more crude, and I decided to divert from,
nice.
and that's where my mind went. Swedish fish.
In my mind, I'm like, I feel like I'm way cooler than Iris West. Maybe not like cooler. I'm definitely not as pretty as her. She's gorgeous. I will say that. But I feel like I'm much more fun than her. Maybe I'm wrong. You know
Perhaps,
me.
she would be more fun if she had ever had the opportunity to finish her dissertation.
Oh yeah, so stressed.
It's just some unfulfilled goals there in life that she's dealing with.
Or did she finish the dissertation? Who knows?
Who knows?
That's why you don't carry your freaking laptop around with you, Iris. Um, but yeah. Anyway, listeners, if you've been engaged, proposed to more than once, tell me how you did it. I want to know.
No sad stories, please, though.
Yeah.
Just keep it fun.
Well, and I think about my roommate that I had in Dallas. She was engaged and then they broke
Oh
up. So that
gosh.
means that she's gonna, if she gets married, eventually she's gonna be proposed to more than once. And I just, how do you do that? How do you get, how do you do that? How does
How do
that
you hook
work?
them? Come on, I need
How do you
tips.
get them? I mean, I know I'm already married, but I just,
It's for me. Just say it's for me. And
that one was hard enough. No, I was kidding. I need to get pregnant. I was kidding.
no, thank you. I'll
No.
skip the advice on that one, please.
That's just to clarify, that's not why we got engaged, but um yeah, and I guess what happens at the end is the question is, can alchemy be seen? Because we saw a metal arm the previous episode when I wanted to say Edward Snowden, but that's not right. Edward Claris Edward Claris gets choked or whatever, and he's like, alchemy, alchemy. And then you see the videos and you don't see anything. It's just kind of a fly. Again, we totally just
So
skipped out.
I didn't understand that part. Did they mean he can't be seen as in he can turn invisible? Like Barry has seen him, but is he like the invisible man under that bird mask?
Oh, that's right. He did,
I
because he was
don't.
like, alchemy.
So what? I mean, yeah, I don't know. That was nah. We'll figure it out, I'm
Yeah.
sure. Maybe that was in the
Yeah.
preview that we don't watch.
Uh,
So yeah, that's the end of the episode.
yeah,
Wow, I think we came in under 40 minutes now.
I know. It's been 10 minutes
It's only been the longest 10 minutes for the
of our
worst episode
lives.
ever.
Well, all I'm going to say with the rest of this episode or this season so far is that I didn't really care for what they did with episode 1
Mm.
of season 3 of The Flash. We had some issues with that one. Episode 2 was better. Obviously, we talked for like an hour and a half, but we also digressed a lot. But and then this episode was just really crappy. So I hope they get it together. I hope they haven't fizzled out already.
It gets risky, I feel, when you start adding in more supers. It's kind of like how sitcoms add a random new child to try to
Where they
things, another cute kid. Oh,
Yeah.
suddenly Jesse and Rebecca have twins and they're adorable.
Mm-hmm.
Or, the weird adopted child in Facts of Life or Family Matters or whatever. Just pick a show. They've inserted some cute child at some point after they jumped the shark.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah,
So
that's true. Fresh Prince, Family Matters. But they have also gotten rid of kids too, randomly.
yeah, the disappearing daughter on Family Matters.
Yeah. So weird.
Ugh, that show. Such a love-hate relationship with that show. It's a different story for a different time. So yeah, this was a filler-ish episode. It wasn't very. I mean, there were some plot points that were revealed that made, like, clearly Jesse having powers was an important development, but it was just boring. It was boring, and hopefully the show isn't. I don't know that the show. I wouldn't say necessarily the show's on decline. I feel like there's going to be those episodes in every season. We're just not remembering ones that we felt this way about before. So
Yeah.
I think I really hope we're in for some good surprises though coming up.
Yeah. Well, and I think they're introducing new characters, but they're all characters that have the same ability as the main character. So it's like, how interesting can this really be? And it's running, Like, I know that certain things come with that, like being able to spin his arms around really fast and create stuff.
Tornado
and
arms.
Tornado arms and timeline jackups and, But yeah, they all have the same ability. So it's just, I don't know. I'm worried. Not really worried, but I'm like, guys, come on. Listen to our podcast. Listen to how we feel. Listen to our feedback. Get it together.
And fix it.
Oh.
All right. So that's it for this episode then.
Sorry if this was not super fun for you guys. It's hard to work with a, not so great episode.
I feel like this is a nice break from our last recording. We gave you hopefully a truncated, easy episode to listen to. So.
Yeah, that's true.
Easy,
come
but
back
not
for
so
more
easy because it's boring.
Yeah. Come back for more. Maybe we'll have random questions. If you guys have random questions for us about who we are or whatever, feel free to contact us. Don't just listen. Don't just be innocent bystanders of our podcast.
Engage.
Sam can't do it all. Yeah.
But thanks, Sam. Sam the fan.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. That's it.
Yeah.
We just bye. I don't know.
Fun. Have a good weekend.
Oh, let's do it Draco Malfoy style and just say something and then just end it. Bye. End.
I'm going over here now.